Business 503, Assessment 2, Case Studies. Ryman Healthcare and Diversification. Ryman Healthcare Limited, founded in 1984, is a New Zealand retirement village and rest home operator. It is listed on the New Zealand Stock Exchange and is one of the largest companies listed on the NZX 50 index and has 36 operational villages across New Zealand. Diversification, its pathways and objectives. Diversification can relate to both personal finance and an organization's investments and revenue streams. Diversification is simply increasing the scope of your asset holdings and pathways of operation. The main objective is usually insurance against risk as well as the additional benefits of new revenue streams and therefore new profit streams. Today we focus on the actions and objectives of a business aiming to diversify and the benefits of said expansion. Pathways. By definition, a company aiming to diversify will pursue several different pathways. These can include the expansion of appreciating and profitable assets held, such as shares and properties, preferably with differing correlation and anti-correlations between them. Other obvious pathways include widening the product line, accepting new funding and investors and partners, new sites of operation, and creating new revenue streams through financial activities, particularly in the business-to-business sector. Pathways to and objectives. The main staple of diversification is the reduction of systematic and unsystematic risk. Systematic risk is risk you choose to undertake due to the macroeconomic dynamics of the sector which your assets belong. Reducing this in an American stock market environment would mean undertaking a smaller unsystematic risks such as holdings in ETFs like SQQQ, the SPXU, and VIX, all of which have direct anti-correlation with the wider American market. In a New Zealand market setting, this would mean investing in assets and property which see upturn when the wider market downturns, as well as opening new revenue streams which have differing levels of sensitivity to the international and national economy. Auxiliary objectives come as byproduct of the new investments and revenue streams, which aim at maximizing the efficiency and profitability of these investments and revenues. Importance and benefits. Diversification of products and operations allow a business to grow self-sufficiently while being more insured against the inevitable fragility of systematic risk assets. The newfound revenue streams and higher insulation against risk also motivates private and public investment, producing more capital for further company growth. Diversification with specific focus on Ryman Healthcare. Ryman Healthcare effectively resembles a merged business comprised of 4 to 5 different specialized care facility chains, with 5 different types of bed noted per facility, and the first half of 2020 seeing $23 million of investment in care systems. We see a very multifaceted business which can weather all but the most ruthless sector-specific economic downturns. Like we mentioned before, diversification insulates against risk and provides new revenue streams. Figure 1.0. The nearly 20-year profit chart is a shareholder's dream. With Ryman's gradual growth towards its current diversification likely being the driver for the increase in profits, internal horizontal integration is a type of diversification and is deduced by the quantity of projects in the development pipeline, which will be shown in Figure 1.1, particularly when we compare it relative to the nearly 40-year-old company's current property list. Their diversification is at an all-time aggressive pace. Impacts of its diversification. Diversifying the aspects of Ryman's care facilities has led to an acceleration of growth, with the project pipeline showing a planned near doubling of existing property inventory over the next few years. This ties in well with the steadily increasing investment, asset, and revenue growth. Not all investments are into assets, as some of the investments are in new revenue streams, such as healthcare systems, less tangible than respirators, but more like elderly focused transportation. Figure 1.1. Since September 2015, Ryman Healthcare has seen a more than doubling of its total asset base. This growth is firmly correlated with the growth in the investment portfolio, particularly in the generalized area of internal horizontal integration, which is the variety of care facilities and care systems, and geographic diversification. The following slides show 23 projects in the pipeline, while the total New Zealand properties owned is 36. A staggering increase in revenue is projected over the next 5 years if the growth and project development keeps the same rate of acceleration, or even if it plateaus at a steady rate of growth. So this is the development pipeline. One of the slides of the 2020 half-year financial report shows various progress for the different sites of geographic diversification, which the company has been constructing. This is projected over a 6-year period. Ryman Healthcare doubled their assets over a period of 6 years. Thus, we can estimate that this pipeline is likely to be completed within the next 4 years if rate of asset expansion stays similar. Investing cash flows are at $406 million. Figure 1.3. This diagram shows that Ryman Healthcare's geographic diversification is multifaceted and includes investment in land, village upgrades, and care systems. The last of these encompasses a large chunk of the healthcare sector. Appendix 18, Asset Base. These diagrams show that the care facilities themselves have different sectors and components, effectively creating an internal horizontal integration and diversifying the scope of its operations. The hospital and dementia, rest home, service components of its care facilities are loosely correlated but not at the value of 1, meaning that something like a cure for dementia or a decrease of the average age of New Zealanders will not cripple the company by itself. The hypothetical future of Ryman Healthcare's diversification. Horizontal. With the horizontal integration seen within the company, we can easily envision a world where Ryman Healthcare further expands on the same level within the supply chain. This will probably see more beds, more sectors with their facilities, larger and larger investments into the various healthcare systems, be it tangible machines or less tangible logistics and or financial networks, and even external horizontal integration, such as the purchase of prefabricated care facilities and whole franchise chains, which are effectively competitors. This is effectively horizontal geographic diversification. An aggressive business model like that of Amazon will allow for even more higher concentrations of their facilities within a city. Larger product and service options within the actual facility and a greater and greater chunk of the national market. Vertical. We're of the opinion that the true honeypot of gold lies with vertical integration. At first, beginning slowly, this will mean having a hand in the supply chain, which delivers beds and medical care systems, or even the investment and purchase of construction companies, so as to minimize the cost of the property overhead. With the supply chain growing into a gold mine, Ryman Healthcare would be wise to diversify with yet another revenue stream which is more stable than direct to consumer and business to business. Forging long-standing business relationships between competitors or even nodes on the same supply chain will guarantee less fragile and longer lasting cash flow.